Meet Mrs. Lillian, age 72. She eats healthy, takes her medications on time, and never misses a doctor's appointment. And yet, she's constantly tired, struggles with stomach pain, and gets sick more often than she used to. Her biggest health threat? It wasn't in the medicine cabinet. It was sitting quietly in her refrigerator. An old takeout container with the lid half on, wilting lettuce forgotten in the crisper drawer, that leftover chicken she thought was still fine. None of it seemed like a big deal. Until it started affecting her health, slowly, silently. Have you ever felt like your health was slipping even though you're doing everything right? That something's off, but you just can't put your finger on it? The real danger might be hiding in your fridge right now. And it's not about spoiled food or bad smells. We're talking about everyday foods that, when stored improperly, can lead to cross-contamination, bacterial growth, and foodborne illness, especially in older adults with weakened immune systems. And the worst part? Every extra day these foods sit in your fridge the wrong way, you might unknowingly be putting your health or your family's at risk. In this video, we'll walk you through 9 common foods that are often stored incorrectly in American households. And number 7, that one will seriously surprise you. It's something you probably eat weekly, but it could be the hidden trigger behind chronic inflammation or recurring infections. Before we begin, be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every week, we share health content that can actually protect you and your loved ones. Let's start with a simple question. Have you ever opened your fridge and caught a weird smell, but just shrugged it off thinking it's probably still good? Or saved some leftovers to eat tomorrow, and they ended up sitting there for a whole week? Now think, how many times have you or someone in your family had an upset stomach, and you never even suspected the fridge? These little habits may seem harmless, but they're exactly what puts your health, especially if you're older, at risk. And the scary part, it happens every day, silently. That's why we're revealing the 9 most dangerous foods in your fridge, not because of the ingredients, but because of how they're stored. Let's dive in. 1. Leftovers in unsealed containers. You know that half a bowl of rice, some leftover roast, or a bit of chili you meant to finish later? Many seniors, like Mrs. Lillian, just cover the dish with a plate or foil and call it done. But this is a hidden trap. When leftovers aren't properly sealed, they're exposed to air and moisture, creating the perfect breeding ground for Listeria monocytogenes, a bacteria that's particularly dangerous for older adults. It can cause severe infections and may even require hospitalization. What to do? Always store leftovers in airtight containers. Label them with the date using masking tape or a sticky note, and don't keep them longer than 3 days, even if they look fine. Do you usually just cover leftovers with a plate? Let us know in the comments. Your story might help someone avoid a health scare. 2. Cold cuts. Stored in the original packaging. Ham, turkey, breast, bologna. They're quick, tasty, and super convenient, but also sneaky. Many people keep deli meats in their original packaging, folded over and loosely closed. Here's the issue. Once opened, cold cuts should be eaten within 3 days. Beyond that, bacteria like Salmonella and Clostridium perfringens can develop, even if you later heat the food. What to do? Transfer deli meats to sealed containers. Store them in the coldest part of your fridge, ideally 32 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 to 4 degrees Celsius. How long do you usually keep deli meat in the fridge after opening? Let us know so we can help you store it safely. 3. Pre-washed leafy greens. Washing your lettuce, arugula, or spinach ahead of time might feel like a time saver. But it could be setting you up for trouble. Moisture trapped between the leaves in a sealed container, that's a red carpet for E. coli, especially when the greens aren't dried properly before storage. What to do? If you want to prep ahead, use a salad spinner or pat dry thoroughly with paper towels. Wrap the greens in a dry paper towel and then store them in a container with a loose-fitting lid. Do you pre-wash your greens and store them all at once? Ever noticed a weird smell or slimy texture? Drop your experience in the comments. It might help someone else.
4. Storing eggs in the fridge door.
It feels automatic. You get home from the grocery store and pop the eggs right into the tray on the fridge door. But here's the problem. That's the warmest, most unstable part of the entire refrigerator. Every time the door opens, the temperature fluctuates, making it the perfect breeding ground for Salmonella enteritidis, especially on the eggshell surface. What to do? Store eggs in their original carton on a middle shelf where the temperature stays cold and consistent. And don't wash eggs before storing. That natural coating helps protect against bacteria. Do you usually keep your eggs in the door? Ever had a bad one? Share your habits in the comments. We'd love to know how common this is. 5. Open dairy left for too long. It's not expired yet is something we've all said about an open milk carton. Or maybe that half-eaten yogurt with the lid barely on. But here's the catch. Once opened, dairy has a short shelf life. Milk should be finished within 3 days of opening. Why? Because air and light degrade the lactose and encourage the growth of bacteria like Pseudomonas and Bacillus cereus, which can cause bloating, nausea, and even food poisoning, especially in seniors. What to do? Seal milk and yogurt tightly, write the open date on the package with a Sharpie, and keep them on the bottom shelf where it's coldest. Do you drink milk all the way to the last drop, even days after opening? Tell us your routine. Someone might rethink theirs because of you. 6. Cut fruit that gets forgotten. A half-eaten apple, a slice of cantaloupe, that banana going soft and brown in the back. Cut fruit releases water and sugar, which creates a moist paradise for yeast, fungi, and bacteria, even when they still look fine. What to do? Always store cut fruit in airtight containers, dry before storing, and keep different fruits separated. Eat them within 48 hours for best safety and taste. How many times have you found forgotten fruit hiding in the fridge drawer? Be honest in the comments. Let's normalize learning, not shaming. 7. Raw chicken stored the wrong way. This is by far the most dangerous item in your fridge. And here's the scary part. Almost no one stores it the right way. Quick story. Mr. James, age 76, started feeling sick, nausea, fatigue, diarrhea. Doctors first thought it was a stomach bug. But the real culprit? A drop of raw chicken juice that leaked into the veggie drawer below, infecting his salad without anyone realizing it. Raw poultry carries Campylobacter and Salmonella, 2 bacteria that can spread across shelves into fruits, cheeses, and anything nearby. Cross-contamination is invisible, but incredibly dangerous, especially for older adults. What to do? Always store raw chicken in a sealed container on the bottom shelf and never in the plastic grocery store packaging. Clean the shelf regularly with vinegar or a diluted bleach solution. Ever put raw chicken straight onto the fridge shelf in the shopping bag? Tell us in the comments. This conversation might literally save lives. 8. Sauces and condiments forgotten for months. Half-used tomato sauce. That jar of pickles opened sometime last fall. Jelly with a lid barely screwed on. Even with preservatives, opened sauces and condiments can develop mold, bacteria, and even toxins like Clostridium botulinum, the source of the rare but deadly illness botulism. What to do? Once opened, use up sauces within 7 days and pickles or jams within 30 days. Wipe the lid rims clean, seal tightly, And always check the label for storage instructions. Ever gotten sick and wondered if it was that sauce you thought was still good? Share your story. It might stop someone from taking that same risk. 9. Soft cheeses. Stored incorrectly. Brie, cottage cheese, cream cheese. They're delicious, but risky if not stored properly. Soft cheeses are high in moisture and have a neutral pH, the ideal conditions for Listeria monocytogenes, which can cause meningitis or sepsis in older adults or those with weakened immune systems. What to do? Store soft cheeses in airtight, clean containers and never reuse old ones without washing them first. Avoid leaving them out at room temperature for extended periods. Do you usually store cream cheese or sour cream with the lid barely on? Leave a comment below. It might seem small, but it makes a huge difference. The fridge you trust might be the most dangerous appliance in your home. It hums quietly in the background. You open and close it dozens of times a day. You trust it to keep your food fresh, safe, and healthy. But what if we told you your fridge could be one of the most dangerous spots in your entire house? Sounds dramatic? Maybe. But science backs it up. Hidden contamination inside an otherwise clean-looking fridge is one of the leading silent causes of foodborne illness in older adults. When's the last time you cleaned the produce drawers? That shelf where you toss the deli meats? The egg tray? The back of the fridge? If you're thinking, over a month ago, or worse, I've never really cleaned that part, this could be the silent health risk that's slipping through the cracks of your routine. The psychology of it seems fine. There's a cognitive bias called the illusion of control. When something works, like your fridge keeping things cold, we assume everything else must be fine too. If it's running, it must be clean. But that's often far from the truth. This blind confidence is why so many people ignore the signs. A faint odor, a sticky spot in the corner of the drawer, a grey patch on the door seal, tiny, almost invisible clues that something's not right. But they're biological warning signs. Here's the hard truth. Bacteria like Listeria, Salmonella, E. coli, and Staph don't smell. They don't make noise, and you won't see them, but they're there, spreading slowly, quietly, and for someone with a weakened immune system, like many older adults, they can be life-threatening. The truth no one wants to talk about. In a peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Food Protection, 93% of refrigerators in senior households tested positive for biological contamination. From sticky residue to mold spores and grease buildup, researchers found bacterial colonies in nearly every fridge, especially in crisper drawers, top shelves, and door seals. The most shocking part? Over half of the participants believed their fridges were very clean. That gap between perception and reality is what makes this problem so dangerous.
I wipe it down. The most common mistake.
Most people clean their fridge like they're wiping down a kitchen cabinet, a quick wipe on the outside, maybe the shelves if something spills.
But a fridge is not just storage, it's a closed ecosystem.
And the more food you store, the more chance for spills, condensation, fruit respiration, bacterial transfer, and mold to grow in hard-to-see corners. Cleaning, where your eyes can see, that's not enough. Because bacteria settle in the drawer rails under the shelf edges, around the rubber door seal, behind the water filter housing, and once they're there, they can survive for weeks, or even longer. The 7-day cleaning habit? Simple, powerful, life-saving. Now imagine this, just one mindful habit once a week, a simple 5-minute cleaning routine that makes your food last longer and your kitchen safer. You don't need expensive cleaning sprays or fancy tools, Just a clean cloth or sponge, a mix of warm water and white vinegar, and a little attention to those often forgotten corners. This small ritual reconnects you with what's really going on in your fridge, and it puts you back in charge of your environment. The power of comparison, what others are saying. Hundreds of viewers on this channel have shared what happened after adding this one habit. My food stays fresh way longer. My mum hasn't had stomach issues in months. I found mold behind the veggie drawer. I had no idea that could be dangerous. These aren't just comments, they're reminders that this isn't about paranoia, it's about prevention. Do you really take care of the people you love? Your fridge is like a safe. It stores what nourishes your home. But if that safe is dirty inside, it quietly turns into a trap. Taking care of your fridge is taking care of the people you love.
Now that you know this,
Can you really sleep soundly tonight, knowing you haven't cleaned it out? Let us know in the comments.
when was the last time you deep cleaned the inside of your fridge?
This conversation could open someone's eyes. Maybe even save a life. What seemed like a simple routine might be silently hurting you. This isn't about overreacting. This is about responsibility. It's not fear. It's foresight. We talked about 9 everyday foods that, if stored the wrong way, can quietly turn your fridge into a hub for dangerous bacteria. And we exposed the very real impact that fridge hygiene has on the health of older adults. Something most families only realize when it's already too late. You don't have to live in fear, but you do have to stay aware. Because ignoring this kind of information comes at a cost. And we're not talking about spoiled groceries or wasted leftovers. We're talking about well-being, independence, and quality of life. Don't let your health, or your parents' health, fall apart simply because no one ever told you this mattered. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the notification bell. These tips aren't just fun facts. They're life-saving instructions that most people never hear from their doctors. Now it's your turn. Take action. Hit the like button. Leave a comment telling us which of these 9 foods you've been storing the wrong way. And write this in the comments. I'm changing this today. That one small promise might be the start of something bigger. A real shift in how you protect your home and your health. Your health is priceless, and it starts with the small stuff. Your well-being isn't built on dramatic changes or giant health trends. It's built in the quiet moments, in small decisions, in everyday routines, in the little acts of care that no one else sees. You deserve to live light. Without stomach aches that could have been avoided. Without random nausea you can't explain. Without fear creeping into your daily meals. You deserve straightforward, honest information. And someone who talks to you like your family, not a number. That's why we're here, to support you, to guide you, to remind you of something that no one says often enough. Your life matters. Your health matters. Take good care of yourself. You're not alone in this. And yes, your health really does start inside your refrigerator.